Hi, everyone. I am here a couple minutes early, just starting this live event so that we can let people join before I get started. So if you're joining now, welcome. And we'll get started in a little bit. Hi, everyone. It's noon. We're about to get started, just letting people join now, and then I'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Just coming on here first to say hello, see where everyone's joining from. If you want to, you can type into the chat and talk to us and let us know where you're joining from. And if you can hear me okay, and if you have any questions. And then I'm going to get started pretty soon here, just giving a couple more minutes for people to join. Hi, everybody. Okay, it is top of the hour and I'm going to get started now. So I'm going to go to full screen for a minute with some of my images, and then I'll be back in a little bit. So let's get started. In this live event today, I'm going to share with you 3 reasons why some accounting teams close their books 90% slower than other accounting teams, and 3 strategies to help you improve your close process so that you know your numbers sooner and more accurately. These are proven strategies that will make your organization more productive. You'll get your time back, save money, and reduce stress. So my name is Laura Redmond with Redmond Accounting, Inc., and I'm so glad you're here. Sarah is managing the Q&A and chat. So if you have any questions or comments or just want to say hi, you can post them there and Sarah will be answering them. And Sarah will also be adding pop-up messages and discount codes and whatever else she wants to. She will be adding those on screen for you all. Sarah and I will also both be here at the end if you want to talk about anything afterwards. Before we get started, I wanted to make sure to tell you to be sure to stay until the end because I'm going to be talking about several incredible bonuses that are only going to last a limited time. If you're wondering if this live event is right for you, if you work in the in-house accounting department of an organization and you want training for yourself or other members of your accounting department, then you're in the right place. Maybe you're the financial controller and you want to convert your old-fashioned accounting processes into a modern cloud accounting workflow. Or maybe you're a staff accountant and you want to improve the manual labor associated with the work you do. Or maybe you want to become a financial controller. Or if you work in an accounting firm that provides CAS services to clients, CAS or CAS stands for Client Accounting Services, or CAAS stands for Client Accounting and Advisory Services. The AICPA, which is the governing body for the accounting profession in our country, the AICPA has been using both of these terms the past decade. CAS or CAAS, both of them are pronounced CAS. CAS services are the largest growing sector of accounting services in the accounting profession. So CAS services are not tax services. They're not audit services. CAS services are when an accounting firm performs the work of an accounting department for multiple clients, multiple, usually businesses, organizations. Things like invoicing that company's customers, paying the company's bills for them, expense reports, running payroll to pay their employees, managing the general ledger by recording financial activity and reconciling and closing the books. CAS services generally perform the work of the accounting clerk, the bookkeeper, the controller. So if you work for an accounting firm that provides or wants to provide CAS services to clients, then you're in the right place here today. Or if your organization understands the benefits of a cloud-based accounting infrastructure and uses QuickBooks Online as your platform, then you're in the right place. Or even if your organization does not use QuickBooks Online, but you want to, because you want to transform the accounting department infrastructure and your processes, then you're in the right place. Or if you know that there is more to closing the books than just reconciling the bank account and entering a closing date, and you want more details, like if you want interactive step-by-step checklists for closing the books in QuickBooks Online, then you're in the right place. If you want to save time, reduce error, avoid fraud, and fulfill your obligation to provide vital information to your organization, then you're in the right place. Or maybe you don't even work in an accounting department. Maybe you want to learn how a cloud accounting department should run so that you can get a job. Or maybe you just got out of school and studied accounting or business or something like that, and you want to run the accounting department for a company, maybe as their financial controller. Or maybe you're even a teacher and you're teaching cloud accounting to students who want to know the real life skills needed to work in the accounting department of an organization using QuickBooks Online. If you found yourself nodding along yes to any of these, then you are 100% in the right place. And this event is for you. And I'm so excited to share these strategies with you. So before we get started, I wanted to share my background with you just so that you know what my experience is, where I'm coming from. I'm a former corporate financial controller. I'm based just south of San Francisco in Silicon Valley. And this area of the world, this particular area of the world, is considered the epicenter of innovation and technology, even though that has spread out all around the world. Most people here adopted technology, cloud-based technology, very early and very quickly a while back. And so I'm just telling you to set the stage. That's the environment I kind of grew up in. And during that time period, before there was even the idea of an IT manager, before that was a common job position, the work of the IT manager, as that was being created, often fell to the financial controller, who usually was the person that managed the systems. And that's how it was for me. As the financial controller of a mid-market company at that time, I managed the office systems. So as they grew in complexity, so did my responsibility. And so I was a financial controller, but I also had to figure out how to set up and configure email addresses, because that was new. Build the first website for our company, because that was new. There weren't web designers yet. Troubleshoot PCs, reformat, build PCs, crimping Cat5 cables, building peer-to-peer networks. We just had to make stuff up. Managing large systems. For me, it was an IBM AS400 system for multiple locations. Writing queries to create reports with the right data we needed. Training staff. All that kind of stuff fell to a lot of us who were financial controllers at the time. And so I was a financial controller, but also a de facto IT manager. So that just sort of gives you the just some background on why I've been so interested in this sort of high-tech cloud accounting side of this profession. Anyway, in 2005, I left the corporate world, and it's about 20 years ago, and founded an accounting firm to offer the services performed by an accounting department to companies who didn't have an accounting department. That was also new. That wasn't a thing. You had accounting firms, you would have an accountant do your tax or do audit, but your accounting departments were usually in-house. So this became called CAS or CAS, Client Accounting Services, as I just mentioned earlier. And so in my firm, we don't do tax. We don't do audit work. We have CPAs on staff, but we don't do that type of work. We do the client accounting services. We act as the accounting department for each of our clients. So again, we invoice their customers and record their revenue. We pay their bills and record their expenses. We process expense reports and payroll and all that financial activity, post it to the general ledger. So we're the bookkeeper and the financial controller for our clients, sometimes the CFO. Sometimes our clients have a financial controller, a CFO, and we're their accounting department. So we're coming up on 20 years of serving clients. In a few months, it'll be our 20-year anniversary. The core mission of this firm is to provide those CAS services using technology so that our clients can interact with us and with their really important critical information, financial information, in a digital paperless environment. So just as important to us as getting the accounting work done is that it be with a sort of a high-tech flair to it. So we've been using QuickBooks Online for a long time, since our very first client. In fact, our firm also is on QuickBooks Online from the very beginning. All of our clients are in QuickBooks Online. Our clients are sort of everything from sole proprietors to small business, mid-market companies. That's sort of our niche, mid-market companies, venture capital firms, high net worth family offices, other accounting firms have us do their accounting. So they all use QuickBooks Online to manage their financial data. We attend trade shows and beta test products for Intuit and other app developers. And we participate in discussion groups and mastermind groups with other peers, other accounting firms in the country, all focused around the QuickBooks ecosystem. And we've even won some awards for that. Most recently, top mid-market pro advisor last year. So that's the sort of accounting experience there. Along the way, running a firm, we needed a tool. We built a tool to help us manage the work we do. And you're going to see all this come into play as I talk right now. But that tool helped us as our firm was growing. We ran into many of the same issues that you probably run into related to taking a long time to close the books, or just all of the work you do inside an accounting department or an accounting firm. So particularly to closing the books, though, we researched and discovered and tested and developed better processes to get that workflow dialed in and more efficient. And then we built this tool that manages the exact steps to perform in each process. And then all of those processes make up the various services that we offer as a firm. So those, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, but those step-by-step checklists of the processes that we've developed help us perform all of our work very consistently across multiple staff who are in multiple states. We're all US based, but across multiple states and for multiple companies for our clients that we do the work on. So that app that we built is called Arrow Workflow Manager, and that's spun off. That's separate from the accounting firm now. That's a different company, and we built that to harness our firm's like knowledge capital, like what we do, the way we do it. And that provides staff with the direction and resources to do their work without micromanaging and watching over them. And the staff, by the way, is all together a part of creating the processes of how we do things here in our firm. So that app also gives us a bird's eye view of the work that's being performed so that we know everything from like the recurring work that we need to do at all different frequencies, work that either hasn't been started yet that's coming up, work that's in progress, who's doing it right now, when's it due, work that's been put on hold. Maybe we're waiting for someone to get back to us on something and we don't want to forget about it, and work that's completed so we can see if we can go home for the day. So today, that app, Arrow Workflow app, is used by accounting firms and accounting departments around the world. Our main markets are US, Canada, UK, Australia, South Africa. The third kind of major thing that I have done in the past couple of decades that is still a part of what I do today and what I'm doing right here talking to you is that I spent many years as a member of Intuit's trainer team. Intuit is the company that makes QuickBooks. And in that time, I co-authored Intuit's first ever QuickBooks Online certification program, both the core cert and the advanced cert. I did that for many years. And then we went out on the road and taught it live to accounting professionals around the country and at national conferences and local events. So the roadblocks and the strategies that we're going to talk about here today are ones that I've been working with for decades and have helped thousands of accounting professionals do the same and talked to and learned from thousands of accounting professionals. So this is how we all sort of collectively come together with these best practices that will help you close your books 90% faster. I want you to take a second and close your eyes if you want to, but just imagine how your productivity could scale within the next few months if you're willing to take the first step. With each process that you optimize in your firm, you free up time to do more valuable work for your organization. And you reduce the number of errors that occur due to archaic and inefficient methods. And with each improved fraud preventative method that you put in place, you are intentionally taking back control from fraudsters and protecting your company. Speaking of, next week, Sarah, I don't know if you have this link handy. I can find it later, but next week, I'm doing a webinar for Bill.com. If anyone's familiar with Bill.com, now called Bill, they have a webinar coming back up next week called 5 Things You Can Do Today to Prevent Fraud in Your Organization. And I'll be talking about all the recent stats on payments fraud and organizational fraud and things like that. That is something like our firm is not even a fraud specific type of firm. There are firms that are specifically niche to work with fraud situations, but even just doing regular accounting in a general firm, we have seen so many cases of fraud. I don't even like to say that, but it's just out there and you need to be aware of it and protect yourself from it. Anyway, if we have that link, we can put it up. Otherwise, I'll find it, but that would be a good one to watch. So basically, I'm obsessed with helping other accounting professionals optimize their accounting departments so that they can become more productive and valuable to the organizations they work for. Okay, real quick, just to get you fired up, I want to share some success stories with you, just in case you see yourself in some of this and just give you some energy for it. These are awesome, and I love to hear about these. So I'm just going to read off a few. Julie, these are just some of the success stories I've seen that come to mind. Julia is a management accountant at a venture capital firm. She used to have to export data out of her company's accounting program into a spreadsheet and then manipulate it, a ton of manual work, like more than just a few hours. We're talking days and weeks of work in a spreadsheet, manipulated in the spreadsheet in order to produce manual financial reports. And now QuickBooks and some add-on apps as needed performs this work for her. In her case, QuickBooks performs the work for her. Then we've got Hannah, who transferred her mid-market sized venture capital firm's accounting system from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. They actually had multiple entities. So they had several companies in QuickBooks Desktop, several company files, which they moved to QuickBooks Online. We helped them migrate it all. Her very large accounting department, in-house accounting department, had used the QuickBooks Desktop accounting software for 20 years. And that involved a lot of server maintenance, updating the software releases. Everybody had to be on the same release in order for the different accountants to log into QuickBooks Desktop. They had to do off-site daily storage of data backups. All of that work went away when they migrated to the cloud. Then we've got Troy. He optimized his firm's accounting processes into a smooth running machine. And in their case, they had a bookkeeper who liked the way things had been done forever. And I understand that sometimes change is difficult. And she was retiring anyway. So they used that as a good time to move all of their processes to the cloud and make it more, just to optimize everything. They could not explain some of the balances on their balance sheet. And now he has cleaned up all of his processes, all of his financial reports, and has a process for regular month-end close. And he has more time to devote to what he does best, which is managing their legal firm, their law firm. Then we've got Patrick. Patrick is a CFO. He stepped into a new position as CFO of a company that had multiple entities in multiple different countries. So they were working with multiple currencies. They were using desktop software. And in his first month on the job, he stepped in and moved everything to the cloud into QuickBooks Online, which gave him the access and visibility he needed. Then we've got Zach. He has about 15 accountants, 25 entities. He migrated them all to QuickBooks Online, defined his processes, trained all his staff, and that made his transition successful. And then we've got Michelle. She runs a really popular barbershop, and she runs her business on QuickBooks Online because she needs to know her cash flow and she needs to know her numbers. So, we've got another person, James comes to mind. I don't even have him up here on the slide, but James, they run about 12 ranches throughout California that produce a lot of the nuts that we all eat in California and the rest of the country. And so they had a bunch of entities, and they used the live checklist with step-by-step instructions to record and reconcile and close their books. And then we've got Monica, who uses our processes for closing the books to know her numbers. She's a venture capital firm, and they just have to report on a lot of funds, and they have a lot of balance sheet accounts, and they have to make sure those numbers are correct. Anyway, we have worked with countless people in all sorts of situations, but I hope you see the common thread here is moving to the cloud and optimizing the processes. Before we get started, I have a bonus for you. When you finish this webinar, look for an email from me with my top 5 cloud accounting must-haves, where I share my favorite tools and tips and tricks that will boost the efficiency of your accounting department. So let's dive into the roadblocks that cause you to close your books 90% slower and the strategies to speed that up. Roadblock number 1 is manual data entry. Manually entering data takes a lot of time. And you can't close the books until all of the financial activity has been entered. So manual data entry is often a major roadblock that slows down the close process. There are always more important things that we would rather be doing with our time than typing data into a machine. But there is often no time left to do these things. When you're typing in every date, every description or memo, every dollar amount for every single transaction that your organization processed. And this time translates into expensive labor costs for the organization. And also, typing in data is notorious for leading to mistakes. It's so easy to type a wrong date, transpose an amount. It's human error. It's going to happen. We're not bad. It's just that it can happen. So you could slow it down to be more precise, but then you're back at the wasted time issue. And another thing about typing in data is that manually entered data is not generally reviewed or substantiated either at all, or at least not until the books are closed, because the timing of it is such a rush there, getting it all entered, and then it's time for the next period. So there are not always great controls around this, especially in organizations that don't close their books. This can leave the organization open to fraudulent activity that is not discovered until it's too late. Over and over again, I see businesses suffer from the high costs of time-consuming manual processes, human error, and susceptibility to fraud. So strategy number one is to harness the power of the bank feed to automate the work of recording transactions. And you do this by connecting QuickBooks to each of your financial institution's online accounts, your checking accounts, your savings accounts, credit cards accounts, every credit card account for every card. This allows QuickBooks to automatically import all the activity that's posting to these online accounts. It doesn't pull the data in and post it right to your general ledger. Don't worry about that. It pulls it onto the banking screen in QuickBooks for you to review and then code. And then you can click an easy button and push it all into your general ledger. The bank feed pulls in 3 fields of data generally. The date the activity posted to your account at your financial institution, so the posting date. The detail describing the activity, which could be wire, branch deposit, the name of the merchant, the check number, that memo or description that you see on a bank statement. That comes through in the bank feed. And the amount deposited or withdrawn from your account. So those 3 fields are what comes in on the bank feed: posting date, detail, and amount. And for some of you who use certain participating banks, there are about 5 or so of the top banks, QuickBooks can pull in the images of cleared checks and deposits. And we love that. That's pretty awesome. So now you don't have to manually enter all that data because the bank feed is automating that part of the work for you. All you have to do is either match that bank feed to an existing transaction that you had already entered, or that one of the apps you're using entered for you, or you just click on all this bank feed, just click on it, pick a category, and post it to the general ledger. You don't have to type in all that data. In addition to that savings that automation brings to you, there are tools to automate this even further. So, for example, if you see several rows of activity coming in on the bank feed that all show the detailed description with the same particular merchant name, you can check each row and batch enter it. Pick the appropriate account to code it to and batch enter them all at once. And for activity that occurs frequently, QuickBooks starts to recommend the account you should code it to based on the way you've coded it before. So when it sees a merchant name, it'll start to learn your data and it'll say, you coded it here last time. Do you want to code it here again? And even better is you can, on any of the bank feed, you can create a rule easily. Right click the bank feed and say, I want to make this a rule. I want you to code it this way every time. And so now your bank feed starts coming in and you can say to auto enter that. So you don't even have to even ever touch it. It's just always going to code it that way if that's the way you set it up. So you do want to be careful that you use QuickBooks banking tools properly. It is possible, somewhat easily possible, to misuse QuickBooks banking screen. It's a really great intuitive tool, but I have seen people mess it all up. So you do want to get trained on it, because if you mess it all up, it can create a lot of chaos on the books, and that can be difficult to identify and fix. Then you need a big cleanup project. But anyway, once you know how to use it, once you configure it, use it properly, you'll see that connecting the bank feed to QuickBooks automates time-consuming manual processes and reduces human error by pulling in the data directly from the financial institutions. And the bank feed is also a really important fraud prevention tool because it shows you your activity right there in QuickBooks. And one of the top ways to protect your company from fraud is to regularly monitor your bank activity. When you have it hooked up to QuickBooks and you're an accounting department or accounting firm and you're in QuickBooks all the time, you will see your bank activity and you don't have to go log into your bank. You can see it right there in QuickBooks. So that allows you to see your balance and all the bank activity whenever you want. My preference is to work the bank feed at least weekly and not wait for the end of the month. So our takeaway here, roadblock number one on manual data entry, strategy number one is you need to connect QuickBooks to your bank accounts. All right, roadblock number two is not closing the books regularly. Some organizations take so long to close the books that it's time to close the next period already. Some only close the books once a year, and some don't close the books at all. I'm not judging here. I'm not saying that there aren't reasons sometimes that there's a lot of cleanup and projects being done, but you want to aim to close your books monthly. Your goal should be to close your books monthly. As accounting professionals, we understand how important cash flow is to an organization. The accounting department is responsible for providing visibility on that, on money coming in and money going out, so that the leadership team knows what the cash flow runway looks like. And as accounting professionals, we also know that it's vital that an organization knows their numbers so that the leaders of the organization can make good business decisions now while it matters. When an organization doesn't close the books and they run financial reports, what are they even looking at? Who knows if the numbers on the financial reports are even accurate? There could be missing data. There could be duplicate data. There could be incorrect data, incorrect dates, incorrect amounts, incorrect coding. Can you imagine a business making decisions based on incorrect information about the current health of the business and how the business is performing? Cash flow visibility and accurate, timely financial reporting depend on the accounting department closing the books regularly so that you aren't driving blind. So guess what I'm going to say? Strategy number two is to close the books monthly. When you close the books monthly in the following month, then you can close much, much, much faster because you're only dealing with that 1 month's transactions and they just happened. So you can more easily find out information about them if you need to. And when you run financial reports for your leadership team, they will be accurate and timely and meaningful. This way, the organization can more easily act on opportunities that may have been revealed by good results. Or this way, the organization can take action on any troublesome results before they get too far out of hand. When you do not close the books monthly, then the open periods start to stack up like a multi-car pileup on the freeway. And you can't close a period until the period before it is closed. When you close a period that was many months ago and you have a question about some activity in that period, it gets harder and harder for people to remember what happened 3, 6, 9, 18 months ago. So our takeaway for strategy number two is You need to close the books monthly. Moving on, roadblock number 3 is not closing the period properly. If you're going to close it monthly, you don't want to close it wrong. So you want to close the month properly. Many organizations reconcile the bank account and consider the books closed, and that is not usually sufficient. When organizations do not close the books properly or thoroughly, they encounter some of the same issues as not closing the books at all. Many of the processes performed by the accounting department are transactional, right? A lot of us in accounting departments and accounting firms are recording customer invoices, vendor bills, checks, credit card expenses, paychecks. All of these are transactions. This is the financial activity that needs to be recorded throughout the month. And in QuickBooks, and probably in whatever accounting software that you're using, you've probably got something similar, but I'll just speak for QuickBooks Online. We have the Sales Center, which tells you how many billable charges are waiting to be invoiced to your customer, how many customer invoices were there. You see all of the transactions related to sales to your customers. And then you can jump over to the Expense Center in QuickBooks Online. And that tells you how many vendors you owe money to and lists of all your vendors and all the checks you've written and all the transactions related to the expenditures in your organization. And then we have the Payroll Center, which tells you when payroll is due, and it walks you through all the steps of paying your employees. So all 3 of these, Sales Center, Expense Center, Payroll Center, and there are other examples of this. You've got QuickBooks Online looking through your data and bubbling up to the top some actions that you need to take. It's telling you, look, these vendors, you owe them money. And there are buttons right there ready. Do you want to click to pay them? Or these customers owe you money. Do you want to click to send the invoice again to them so that they pay? But not the general ledger. Closing the books is different. There is no wizard in QuickBooks to walk you through it. There is no checklist in QuickBooks to tell you what to do. There is no screen in QuickBooks to view your progress and know when you're done. We're just supposed to know what to do and how to do it. Strategy number 3 is to adopt a process for closing the books. Once you have a process, this work can actually be a lot more straightforward and rewarding than you may fear. Closing the books means making sure that all of the account balances are correct and that financial activity is recorded properly so that financial reports are accurate. Your job is not to press a button to run a report and say, oh, okay, I guess these are the numbers. This is what QuickBooks says. No, because those numbers might be wrong if you have not done your proper close the books process. Your job is to make sure the numbers are correct. Your organization is counting on you for accurate information. The balance sheet drives the P&L. The asset, liability, and equity accounts of the balance sheet are usually the source of financial activity from which income and expense is recorded on the P&L. So we need to support these balance sheet account balances, and we do this in 2 ways. First, we reconcile account balances to an external source of truth, like a bank statement, an official statement issued by a financial institution. It could be a loan document, mortgage paperwork. The other way we can do it is to validate account balances with detailed reports of the exact assets or liabilities responsible for the balance. So when we don't have a financial institution, when we have a balance sheet account that's not associated to a financial institution statement, then we do it this second way by validating them through detailed reports. This helps identify incorrect transactions, missing transactions, duplicate transactions. Then once the balance sheet is substantiated, then we examine the P&L activity, looking for list errors that can cause issues with your financial reports, analyzing activity that's been posted to income and expense accounts, reviewing the audit log for voided and deleted activity and exceptions to the prior closed period. The takeaway for roadblock number 3 is you need a process for closing the books. When you connect QuickBooks to your bank feeds and when you close the books properly each month, you will directly contribute to the success of your organization. Let that sink in for a minute. Imagine how it would feel to work in that type of orderly and intentional culture and to be part of the trusted team responsible for providing that to your organization. So tell me, type it in the chat. Why are you here today and what has kept you here when I'm sure you have a lot of other things to be doing? My guess is that you want to have a greater impact with less effort, without exhausting yourself on manual and ineffective processes, because you know that's not sustainable. I think you're here because you know there's a better way. You want to protect your organization from the high costs associated with wasted time, unnecessary errors, susceptibility to fraud. You want to optimize your accounting department. You want to implement these strategies, even if you still aren't sure how to do that yet. So I see 2 options. Which of these feels like where you are right now? Do you want to wait until you feel ready to start making these improvements? Wait until you get caught up. Maybe you feel like you have to get caught up, or wait until you feel like you have more time. What else is holding you back? And how long do you think you'll put it off? Is it worth it to continue to spend so much time, 90% longer, closing the books or not closing the books? Or do you know that the best time to start is right now? Because making these improvements is what is going to make you ready and get you caught up and give you more time. And because now you have a mentor, me, who's going to walk you through the process of automating your workflow and implementing a best practice for closing the books, and give you step-by-step instructions so that you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help you every step of the way so that you can make your vision a reality. I didn't know these best practices when I started. I learned them from other accounting professionals who shared their processes with me, and from other QuickBooks experts who taught me, and from years of hands-on experience with clients and staff honing these processes. So I know that if I can do it, anyone can, which is why I'm so thrilled to introduce Redmond Academy's online course called Closing the Books in QuickBooks Online. I have so much more to share with you, and it's all in this course. There's a lot more to closing the books than reconciling the bank accounts. You need to learn how to do it, and you need a system to organize all the steps involved in doing it. And don't worry, I've got you covered. The online course provides best practices and procedures for how to tackle the roadblocks and implement the strategies that we've just discussed, and a system to organize all the steps in the proper order at the right time. I break it down for you inside this online course. Everything you need to know: how to close the books consistently and timely, how to delegate this work, how to manage it, how to train new staff to do it, how others can cover when someone else is out on vacation or out sick, and how you can stop being the bottleneck in your organization and let others help. There are lots of accounting courses and QuickBooks Online courses. You can find them free on YouTube, and they're awesome. Accounting courses that teach you accounting principles, QuickBooks Online courses that teach you how to navigate and use QuickBooks Online. These are wonderful courses, and I assume that you have already taken these courses and that you know these things already. This course is not that. This course is different. This course teaches you the workflow, the exact steps for how to do the work of an accounting department, closing the books each month using QuickBooks Online. So here's what you get from this course: step-by-step interactive checklists of tasks that spell out what to do and how to do it, that you can schedule and use. And I will share my screen and walk you through doing that work together. So we'll do it together. We'll discuss all the concepts. You can watch my screen as I show you how to do it. We're going to do it together. And then you still have those step-by-step checklists to use to remind yourself. So after you learn it, don't worry, you don't have to be taking tons of notes. You'll have the step-by-step checklist. So I'm going to quickly go through the module for anyone who just wants to see the 6 modules. I'm going to show it to you right now. But if you want more details on it, there's a link. Sarah's probably putting it up right now on the screen where you can check out the entire curriculum if you want to look at it more in depth. But in the first 3 modules, I lay out the groundwork, the prerequisite knowledge. Again, not the prerequisite knowledge of introductory courses on how to debit and credit things or how to navigate around QuickBooks Online. Again, I assume you already know that. But the first 3 modules, the first module prepares you for the course by laying out like the history and context and vision of cloud accounting. And it includes a ton of freebies, a bunch of links and discounts, tips and tricks, Chrome tips, QuickBooks Online tips, all sorts of random bits of information, basically like everything I can think, every tip I can think of to give you. Module 2 sets the stage for the course by defining the structure upon which we define the close process. And this structure is what helps you optimize the month-end close process. So this course will show you the ways that you can automate your accounting department. And we're going to give you access to all of the documented procedures with screenshots of how we do things, all the step-by-step interactive checklists that you can assign to staff, the whole organizational process of being able to delegate the work and be able to have a bird's eye view of all the work that needs to be done and schedule things. Some things have to be done quarterly, some things have to happen daily. The third module, we're going to go deep. Module 3 covers some of the more advanced functionality of QuickBooks Online to make sure you have a strong foundational knowledge when you're working with QuickBooks Online. Again, this course is not teaching accounting principles. I assume you know debits and credits and that you know how to do the work of your organization, your job in your accounting department. And this course does not teach you to navigate QuickBooks or the basic functions like entering a check. It's assumed you already know that. In this module, we're going to take a deep dive into QuickBooks database categories and transactions so that you can maximize what QuickBooks can do for your company. Then, once we've laid all that groundwork and covered all that foundational knowledge to close the books, now we're all on the same page. And for the next 3 modules, those are the last 3 modules, we're going to go through the work together step by step. So in module 4, we take the bank feed and we focus on the advanced topics related to the QuickBooks Online bank feed and the banking screen. So as I said earlier, the bank feed is integral to closing the books in QuickBooks Online and the timeliness of each close. It's important that you use this screen properly because it can wreak havoc if you don't use it properly. Then we go to module 5, which is the heart of the close process, reconciling and validating the balance sheet. Closing the books, again, means that all the account balances are correct and that financial activity is recorded properly. So module 5 goes into all that. Covers how we support the balances on the balance sheet by reconciling and validating them. Again, remember the balance sheet drives the P&L, so we have to get that right. And we're going to do that together. We're going to go through how you do AP and AR. Closing those accounts are different than closing inventory accounts or closing other asset accounts or closing bank accounts. So we go through all those different types of balance sheet accounts. And finally, in the last module, we're going to examine the balances of the balance sheet and the workflows, and then we're going to jump into the P&L and review the P&L and show you the tools and process for doing that, and then locking the period. So all of that is included in the course. Plus, there's a ton of other extra stuff. So you've got all of my videos so you can watch, and we're going to do it together. But then you've also got links to some basic training. If you do need to brush up on that before you get into these modules, I've got links to basic training. I've got links to sample QuickBooks Online test drive companies so that you can go play in QuickBooks Online in a test company that has data in it and you won't mess anything up. I've got a ton of QuickBooks tips and tricks and bunch of discounts for QuickBooks and other apps, step-by-step checklists, and the documented procedures with screenshots, of course, I've mentioned. And we've got a private course community so that you can talk to all of us and we can talk it out when you get stuck on something. I mean, that alone to me is gold. So this is an entirely self-paced course. You get lifetime access to it and any future updates. So right now truly is the best time to get in. So you may be wondering, how much is it, Laura? How do I enroll? Well, I'm about to tell you that, but I want to remind you, I have a few offers to remind you about. First of all is the top 5 accounting must-haves. I promised you this earlier, so look for this email. This is going to come to you later today after we're finished here. And you can look at these. They're 5. You may be using some of these already, but maybe you're using none of them. You can look through each of these and read about them and see about if it makes sense for your organization to implement any of these to optimize your accounting department. And then I also am going to send you an email, and Sarah may even be putting this on screen, not sure, but you'll at least get an email about how to save money. If anyone here is looking to get QuickBooks Online, if you don't have it already, then, and many of you work with multiple entities in your organization. So if you need a new QuickBooks Online, I'm going to send you a link which gives you a discounted price. And then we're going to give you a discount on this online course. So anyone who wants to get this course, now's the time. If you enroll in the course before the discount code expires, you can get this discount. And remember, the course has everything in it, all those modules, all the sample test drive tips and tricks, discount codes for other apps, the checklists, the procedures, the private course community. So if you were to buy the course on its own any given day, you can do that. But if you enroll today, you get the discount code. So that's a huge savings. And then you get access to all of that stuff I mentioned. But keep in mind that the discount is expiring. And I'm just saying that to you because I'd hate for you to not realize that it expires and miss it. So you'll see there's a discount timer on it. I mean, a countdown timer on the discount. So it'll show you how much time you have left. Look for the emails from us that tells you about all these exclusive offers. So to enroll, you want to click the link. If you want to enroll in the course, click the link in this that Sarah's putting, maybe in the chat or up on screen. And that will take you to this checkout page. And as long as you're enrolling before the timer runs out, you're going to see your discount code already applied for you. So you don't even have to type it in. And then once you check out, you'll have immediate access to the course. And again, lifetime access to it, and you can get started. This is a self-paced course. But if you have questions along the way, you're not alone. We have a private course community full of other students, and as well as our team. We're in there Monday to Friday, available to answer any questions that you have or give any suggestions that come up along the way as you're going through the course. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do all the stuff we talked about today, you want to enroll in the course. And as a thank you for being here today, you get the discount code. And now I want to tell you, just before I say goodbye, I want to tell you about something new. We've just split the course into 3 mini courses. So if any of you out there, for example, are already a guru or expert on, say, the advanced structure of QuickBooks Online, and you don't want to take that section, you could just take the other 2 mini courses. Or if you're already an expert at the bank feeds and you want to take the other 2 courses, you can do that. Mix and match, however you want to do it. You can just take 1, 2. If you're going to take all 3, I think you'll get better pricing if you just take the full course then. So here's how we've split it out. Mini course number 1 is the advanced general ledger categories. This is your key to mastering the complexity of QuickBooks Online database structure. And by complexity, I don't mean it's hard to use. It's very intuitive. You know QuickBooks. It's made to be easy to use. I just mean that it is more complex and capable of doing work for mid-market companies than people may understand. And so it's really good to know that if you don't know that. This cost of this course is only $249. And this course really helps you unlock the power of QuickBooks Online. So by diving deep into the database structure, you can learn about that. Okay, mini course number 2 is called Mastering Bank Feeds. And that course is only $349. And that's a game changer because that really is your ticket to unlocking the full potential of QBO's bank feed. And you want to be able to use that screen. And you don't want to mess up on that screen. So this course will teach you that. And then finally, mini course number 3 is the Expert Guide to Reconciling and Closing. This course is only $449. And this gives you all the best practices for substantiating and finalizing the ending balances for your period and closing the books. And this is a necessity if you're running your accounting department on QuickBooks Online. This one is launching this month. It is coming out literally very soon. So watch our website or watch your email inbox for notification. Watch all our social channels. We will be talking about this when it launches this month, October. And because you attended this webinar all the way to the end, then you will get a discount code for all 3 of these mini courses. So that will help you also. Okay, if you have any questions, once this is over, certainly if you have any now, I'm going to stay on. Sarah's going to stay on. We can chat now. But if you have any questions and you want to talk to somebody on our support team, we would love to hear from you. The best way to do that is to go to our website and use the Contact Us form, redmondacademy.online. You can type any of your questions in there about the course, whether it's right for you, et cetera, and somebody from our team will get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm so excited to have you in the course and help you automate your work and close your books every month. Make a note to yourself now about what your pain points are so that you can remember those, so that you can remember what the before was before you took the course and learned these. I can't wait to hear back from you after about how much time you freed up, reduction in errors, and about the improved protection against fraud in your organization. So wishing you all the best of luck. I'll see you inside the course. If anyone wants to stay on now, I'm going to be here. So I'll just come back on and see if there's anyone with any questions. And Sarah, if you have any questions you know of that anyone has asked along the way, maybe you could raise them. But I'll just sit here and wait and see if I see any. I'm gonna read some of the chats and see if there's anything. Hopefully I covered it all. Oh, somebody asked about CPE. No, we have not done CPE with that. Is that something people would like? If you'd like that, let us know. That's something we certainly can do. I've taught a ton of courses with CPE, but I don't see any other questions. We did a webinar yesterday out over Zoom. Today we're on the socials. But yesterday, thanks, Arena. Okay, I see your yes. Okay, we'll look into that CPE for this. It's bigger than, the normal 1 hour. This course is bigger than the normal 1 hour webinars. So We'll have to look into that. The course, if you were to sit through the course like all at one sitting, I think it's 8.5 hours. So it's got a lot of information in it. Yep. So yeah, CP would be a good idea. Thank you for that. I'm trying to remember what people were asking yesterday, just in case anyone else is thinking about this. We had someone was asking about the step-by-step interactive checklists. We use Arrow Workflow for that. If you go straight to Arrow Workflow, which accounting firms around the world use, there is a library that has pre-made checklists, which you can use. But if you want the specific ones that we teach in QuickBooks Online, in this online course that my firm, Redmond Accounting, uses, that we've built for this course, then you have to get Arrow through this course. And when you sign up for the course, you get 90 days free on Arrow, so you can use it. I mean, you can screenshot the step-by-step. We go through it in the course. You'll have all that information. So you will have 90 days free, but you could just take this checklist out if you wanted to. But for us as a firm, we've been using it forever. It's not as helpful when it's a PDF. People are unlikely to go pull up a PDF every time. It's great when they're the interactive checklists inside the app, because then you can watch your bird's eye view of your whole firm at work, and you can see all the scheduled work you have. And then that work itself is the checklist. So the checklist, you can check off each one. Like, so if you do half of a checklist and you have your check marks, and then you put that task on hold because maybe you have to go home for the day and you're going to come back and work on the rest of it tomorrow. Then when you come in tomorrow into that task, which is a checklist, it shows all where you left off. Your manager could come pop into, like, say you don't come in the next day because you're sick. Someone else could jump in and say, oh, this person left off here on this checklist. I'm going to go do the rest of them. So the best use of these checklists is inside that app. So you'll get 90 days free. And when you take the course, the 90 days free, you get the email when you finish the course, because during the course, we're still teaching and working on it. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm already using the 90 days and I'm not even through the course yet. That 90 days starts at the end of the course. Okay. Yes, the checklist. So someone asked, are the checklists detailed step-by-step instructions on how to do a task? Yes. So when like in our firm, when our staff log in, they land immediately on the page that shows all of the work that they need to do through today. We don't want to stress them out and show the 40,000 other tasks that we have scheduled for them over the years that they're going to work here. So when they log in, they see the work that's due today. And when they click on one of those tasks, then the screen shows, and you can see it in the course. When you take the course, you'll see, because we're going to be going through these checklists together. But when you click on your task, it shows an interactive checklist. And on every line, there's a checkbox. There's like whatever the step is that you're doing now. And all the steps are in order. You can jump around if you wanted to do a step before another one, but they're in order of the way you want things done in your accounting department. And so you'll see a checkbox, you'll see a description of the work that needs to be done, and then you'll see links, because sometimes, like, let's say you're reconciling a bank account during month-end close. And let's say one of the steps is to verify that the beginning balance for this reconciliation is the ending balance from last month. And let's say that they don't match. Let's say your beginning balance is different from what QuickBooks is showing on screen. There's a little link to a procedure guide with screenshots for exactly how to troubleshoot the beginning balance. And that's one of the core steps in doing a bank reconciliation. So we talk about all of that. We go deep into bank reconciliations, not just, people know how to do, it's easy to do an easy bank rec. It's easy when you had like 20 transactions and QuickBooks Online has already checked them off for you, and all you have to do is click done, reconcile. I'm talking about, we get into the complexities of bank reconciliations and how QuickBooks works as a program, so you know how to use it and you know how to troubleshoot it. So when you're doing that step and it says to make sure to verify that your beginning balance is correct, there's a link right there to a procedure guide just about that one step, not a whole big procedure guide on how to close the books, because then you got to go like finding where you are on this one thing you're trying to do. No, the step has a procedure guide with screenshots about how to do that step. And it'll talk all about how to troubleshoot that. So that's just an example. And your screenshots also, your step-by-step checklists also have, not only do they have links out to help you, but they'll have links. Sometimes it'll say, go to this website or something, and you can put a link in to take you somewhere. So any given step might have a link to a procedure guide or a link to go to another URL. Also, these step-by-step checklists that we're giving you, you also have the option. You can go to the template screen and arrow, and you can find one of our checklists and you can clone it and make it your own. So it copies exactly what we've given you. You might want to delete one of our steps that's maybe not applicable to you. You can add. I'm always having to add rows because organizations are so different one from the other. Sometimes you've got to have some guy, Fred, has to approve something at this point in the procedure. So add whatever specifics you want to, and then you can set those as recurring and assign it to whoever you want to. But the step-by-step checklists have these links to procedure guides and other things, but also the bottom of the step-by-step checklist, you have this other section where you can access all sorts of information like your vault. And that's where you can have passwords to, like, say you have to log in and grab your AT&T bill or something like that. And you need the password there because your whole team needs to have access to it. You might want to have your federal tax ID number because your accounting team often has to use that. You might want to have your capitalization threshold, all sorts of information you can put in for your organization. Or if you're working on multiple clients, the client you're doing the task for, it will be showing their vault. So all of the information, the idea is that when you're doing a step-by-step checklist, all the information you need, the resources are right there at your fingertips. And each of those, by the way, the vault where I said there were passwords and tax ID number and whatever else you want to put, every line in that vault, you can set a different security level to. So you might have something that's a higher security level because you might have an intern that does some work. And when they go in and do work, they don't see maybe the bank password. So it's very secure. All of the password, there's a password protected masked field so that when you put passwords in, nobody can hack it and get it. It's all encrypted. So yeah, the checklists are supercharged. Okay, I'm looking. Does anyone have any other questions? It's a little after the hour, so I don't want to hold anyone up, but thank you all for joining today. Watch our social feeds. We've got our new mini course coming out, and thank you so much for